Nerd Reactor, roll out.
What's up, everybody? John here, and it's time to talk about The Flash, starring Ezra Miller, Michael Keaton. And this movie, The Flash, is a fun and adventurous film that brings a lot of nostalgia and DC goodness into the fold. And Michael Keaton as Batman is definitely the highlight of the film, and he gets nuts. And there's a lot to enjoy in the film, despite a few bad CGI scenes and a third act that feels like a rehash of Man of Steel. Ezra Miller is Barry Allen, aka The Flash, and it's set sometime after the events of the Justice League, and The Flash is still doing his thing, becoming a superhero, helping out Batman, being a good member of the Justice League, more like the support member of the Justice League, like the janitor of the Justice League. And so with this movie, you get to see him work, and then you also get to see his life outside being a superhero, and we get to see like a little introduction of the relationship between Barry Allen and Iris, and we get to see just how their relationship blossoms. But the relationship's not the focal point, because the focal point is the story of just Flashpoint, and of him caring about his mom and his dad. And so he decides to go back in time to change things so that he can bring back his mother, make it so that his dad is never wrongfully imprisoned, because in the regular timeline, his mom dies and his dad is sent to prison. He was wrongfully accused for the murder of his wife. And so Barry is trying to fix things. And so he does that, but things change and he messes up the timeline, and you have a different world that he's used to, that he knows. So he's like, this is different. But yeah, I think like for a movie, doing the Flashpoint story, I think they did what they could with the time, with the running time. And so we really get this emotional story of Barry Allen trying to save his family, and because of that, things change. And getting to see him mess up time and trying to fix things, it's like it's sad, but also fun to watch, to see how things are changed and just how things are affecting him. But even though he thinks things could be better, he made things worse. And with the Flash, he's a speedster, the Scarlet Speedster. He can run really fast. And this movie really takes advantage of just how awesome his powers are, and fun too. And he uses them in just hilarious ways, especially going on a date and just showing off. So there's one where he's saving a bunch of babies in the hospital, and everything just slows down, and it's very cool, like to see how he tries to plan things in slow motion. So it's kind of like that scene in X-Men Days of Future Past. The scene where we see Quicksilver, where he's running around really fast, but then everything in his time, in his view, is in slow motion. So he does like a lot of fun things with that. So we get something similar to that here in The Flash, where the Flash is in slow motion and just doing things in funny ways. And then there's like another moment where he's hanging out with Iris, and Iris wants a beer. Barry looks inside the fridge. There's no beer in the fridge, so he phases through the wall and he comes out with beers. But yeah, these are just funny moments that he uses his powers to try to take care of someone or try to impress someone, and it's done in like a funny way. And another running gag for this movie, just Barry, he needs to eat to fill his hunger and to replenish his energy. But yeah, it's just a fun gag. It's just throughout the movie. He's always eating. He's got to eat. Whatever he does, he'll take food from somebody else. He'll ask others if they can throw him food, and he'll try to get food from anywhere that's around him. Yeah, the heart of the story here is Barry Allen just trying to save his family, and this is like the most important part, where it's an emotional story. So yeah, just with the performances between Barry Allen and his mother and his father, like I really cared about that family dynamic. And with Maribel Verdú playing Nora Allen and Ron Livingston playing Henry Allen, They just give a wonderful performance, and it made me really care about them on what happens to them. Because in the movie, Barry lost his mother like a long time ago, and so you get to just see, like in some flashback scenes, how she has a mother, and you also get to see Ron Livingston as Henry Allen, just as a father, just a loving father, a funny father. You care about these people, so that when Barry tries to save them to just make his family life better, you hope that it's maintained, and you just want what's best for them. But yeah, that is the heart of the film, and the themes of what are you willing to do to save your family, and it also weighs in on, if you save your family, you're going to mess up the world. So what are you going to choose? Saving your family, but the world's going to be ruined, or saving the world but sacrificing your family? So that's a tough one. And just talking about this now, yeah, almost very similar to Across the Spider-Verse. But that theme of Across the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales figuring out whether he should save the people he care about or messing up the world. Those are like the only similarities, because this one takes it into a different direction. And of course, I want to talk about my favorite thing in the movie, Michael Keaton as Batman. And he is my favorite live-action Batman. Just the voice and just the way he carries himself. And he's just awesome. It's just great to see him don the cape again after many decades. Yeah, this Batman, just getting to see him really kick ass, and just using today's technology to make him just fly all over the place and jump around and just beat a lot of bad guys. And just everything about this, getting to see his Bat Cave, getting to know more about what he has done and what Batman has contributed to this version of Gotham. Yeah, it's just a cool nostalgia effect, but also just continuing on with the story of Batman and what he has been doing recently, and how he's getting roped into this adventure with the Flash. And since we're dealing with Flashpoint, with the Flash messing with time, going back in time, we get to see a lot of cool time travel things, like the effects of it. The Flash messing with the timeline. So you're going to have the multiverse, because when you mess with the timeline, it creates different branches, and the multiverse gives us a lot of just different ways of characters from one universe interacting characters from different universes. For example, Barry Allen getting to meet Michael Keaton as Batman. And the main portion of the universe that Barry is in now, where his parents are still alive, it's different. Yeah, you have Michael Keaton as Batman in this universe, but then you also have mentions of different actors playing popular, iconic characters. And the movie does references movies like Back to the Future, etc. And so it's just really, really funny to know like what Barry has done to mess up with the timeline, where an actor is playing a different character that we know and love from popular movies. Oh yeah, so there's a lot of Easter eggs, plenty of Easter eggs in The Flash, and just references too. And if you're a DC fan, you're definitely going to get a kick out of this, especially if you're a fan of the classic DC films and shows. And for me, like, just watching it, it's like, I can't believe it. It's being shown, and just even the obscure stuff, you're like, oh wow, how did they did it? They did it, and it's here, and it's like only like the Disney fans that have been like following certain things will understand the reference, and then others will be like, huh, why is that there? What's happening? And of course, Ben Affleck, he gets to return as Batman, and he's always just a fun watch, just being the mentor to Barry Allen. He gets a lot of just fun moments here. Just still being the ones planning things, trying to figure things out. As much as I enjoyed the film, there are issues with it that I had, and one of them is the CG, and it's quite bad at times. And one of them would be Barry Allen, older Barry Allen, talking to younger Barry Allen as the Flash, and dressed up in the Flash outfit, like the face, it just feels like it's been just CG'd onto the face. And so it doesn't look quite right. And another one that is really obvious is the hospital baby saving scene where the Flash tries to save a bunch of babies in the hospital, and the babies look like just CG plastic dolls, like not even realistic. Like any part where it's like in slow motion, in super slow motion, where the babies are in danger, they use CG, and it looks pretty bad. And then like when it's like in regular speed again, they use real babies, and scenes that doesn't show them in danger, then they use like the real babies. But I guess either they're really trying to show off the scene to make it cool, and I did enjoy it. It's cool, it's very creative, but it's just the babies, they just look bad. And this movie, you know, deals with Flashpoint and the Flash. There's the Speed Force. So this version of the Speed Force where the Flash enters, it's kind of like a timeline of events that he can see, and instead of just using footage, just regular footage where he can see the past, it uses like just this weird clock-like CG effect. And by doing that, by getting to see characters like in this room in like 3D, in a 3D space, they decided to use CG to create the characters, and it just does not look good. Sometimes it's as bad as the baby scenes, but sometimes the CG is done well. The one that's fine is like when you're actually using the actual footage from the actors, but when they decide to use the CG to capture the actor's likeness, it just looks really off. And the same goes to like some of the Easter eggs and references that uses CG too, where, dude, it's cool. Like the CG is just not that great, but getting to see it used to do these cool Easter eggs, you're like, all right, I like it, but then it just looks off. Like I want it to be better. I want it to look really good. And another thing I wanted to see more of is just Supergirl. Like she's here, she gets to kick ass, and she does fight Zod in the third act, and she gets some really cool moments with Zod, and you get to see a little taste of the emotion and the history behind her character. And I wish there was more of that. We get a little bit more screen time, so we really care. But I think for what we have, I still think that Supergirl was cool in those few moments, but I want to see more of that. And I think the movie, like, they could have just added a little bit more scenes to make you really care about what happened to her, why is she here on Earth, and her relationship with Zod and everything else, and the whereabouts of Superman. But yeah, I just think that it's barely scratched the surface, so I just wanted to see more of that. And another thing I think that didn't make me like the third act as much in this film is that it just feels more of a rehash of Man of Steel, just because when you introduce Zod, it's Zod wanting to do the same thing, and that means terraforming the Earth. So because of that, it just feels like nothing is new being shown. If you want to like bring back a villain, because I think Zod was a cool villain in Man of Steel. So if you want to bring him back, try to make it so that when he's back, it's something new or refreshing, or otherwise, I'll just watch Man of Steel. And then this is like a minor annoyance for me with this movie is the performance of younger Barry Allen. And for me, at least, it can be annoying at times just with his high-pitched laugh, because he laughs a lot throughout the film, kind of like an immature teenager where he sees something funny and he just laughs, and he's always doing things that is pissing off older Barry. But that's the character, that's the character they want to portray, just this annoying guy. Because the characters, they both younger Barry Allen and older Barry Allen, they both annoy each other. But yeah, that's just like a minor gripe for me with that. And it's just, there's a lot of it, like with the laughter, with the high-pitched laughter, and he has a lot of screen time, younger Barry Allen, so it's like spread throughout the film. But yeah, even though the movie has like some bad CGI, and I wish things were fleshed out more with some characters, I still enjoyed this movie a lot, especially with the family dynamic, the emotional story of Barry Allen just trying to save his family, and also Michael Keaton as Batman, returning as Batman from Batman 89, and just seeing all the cool things that comes with that, with the Batmobile, the Batwing, the Batcave, and just also the mansion. Getting to see Bruce Wayne's mansion. It's like this is nostalgia at its finest, and lots of cool Easter eggs in this movie. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on The Flash. Let me know what your thoughts are on the comments below. When you get a chance to check out this film. With that said, I'm John, and I'll see you guys next time.